Stock markets hit an all-time high. Does this mean that the recession is over? The economy is doing well. Everyone in the US is on their way to full employment. Everything that was wrong is now right. All hail Lord Obama. And now we come back to reality. Let me take you through a few things very quickly. I'll try to make this as short as possible. US stocks finish higher on the week with the Dow and the S&P at records. Look at these guys' faces right here. These gentlemen are so happy because they feel that job security, that as long as the stock market perpetually increases in its number, they will continue to have a job that will put food on the table and everything will be just fine. The Dow Jones sets inflation-adjusted record high. This is something that they've been waiting for well over a decade. And of course, there are two issues here. So it took 14 years approximately to get to its previous record that they're claiming is inflation adjusted. Let's just say that that was actually real, the inflation numbers. Let's get into that in a minute. But if it took 14 years to get back to where it was, that is the one of the longest time frames I've seen, outside of, let's say, the depression, Great Depression there, that it took that long to get out of its inflation adjusted high. This is an extremely long time. Now, let's get into the issue. Inflation. They're using fake numbers. These numbers are not real. This is a total fictionary tale that they're telling us. I've gotten to this so many times, wrote about it in my book. I'm not going to get into that today. You know where I'm going with it. The Fed taper will have negligible impact on the economy. This guy here is actually suggesting, is out of Forbes, and they're suggesting that, look, the stimulus didn't do anything in the first place, so it's not going to have an effect if they pull out. All I want to say about this is that this money printing never was to help us in the first place. So that when they're printing money, the Federal Reserve is doing something. Basically, they're using their own mechanism, this printing press, which they control, to benefit their friends. This has nothing to do with the real economy. This is money printing, credit increasing, however you want to call it, helping out their friends. And all it's doing is basically increasing their balance sheet. And, of course, half of that, or I should say more than half of that, is off the books. But you know what? Let's just scrap this for the time being. Let me get into what's real. What I'm talking about in my book here is the GDP numbers. GDP is, as I show in the diagram right here, you can check this out. This is, I'm just flipping through the information on Amazon for my book. You can take a look. GDP is the government spending, consumption, investments, and exports. They add it all up. That's what you get with GDP. They're saying, if you look at these things here, they're saying, as I'll show you right in here for a second, I'll come back to the diagram, U.S. third quarter growth raised to 4.1%. They're actually suggesting, they're lying right to you and I right now, saying that growth is at 4%. This is the most illogical, irrational, and completely fraudulent thing I have seen in a very long time. There is no growth. The U.S. is dying. It is bleeding out. It is all over the floor. There's blood everywhere. And they are saying, don't worry, he doesn't need to be taken to the hospital. Just leave him there and he'll be just fine. That's what they're saying to us. Where in this here is the GDP actually going up? Everything is going down. The investments, just as an example, the investments are leaving the country. The only people buying real estate are people that are foreigners. Those are the people that are coming in and they're buying up real estate, just as an example. But you have nothing entering the economy, and I'll get into our good friend NAFTA and how that shipped away many of the good jobs. And for just to continue on, this goes along with that, the whole NAFTA thing. I'm going to get into that, but what I wanted to explain to you is that these numbers aren't real, and I will continue to harp on that until more people are realizing that. Once again, 4%, I do not agree with this number. I know that's the number they're keep throwing out at us, and they keep increasing this number, and that's the reason supposedly why the stock market increased in price. This is not real. I'm not buying it. I hope you're not either. Looks like Ross Perot was right about the giant sucking sound. So if you don't know what this was all about, this was NAFTA. So they signed this so-called free trade agreement, which basically was a method for companies to use overseas third world country labor, which is not competitive whatsoever with the labor in the West. So you ship those jobs overseas, the manufacturing jobs, for example, General Motors, they now build their consumer vehicles, many of them in countries like Brazil and China. And what do we get? We get the service-based jobs, which now many graduates are looking for jobs in retail locations, making near minimum wage after being educated because there are no well-paying jobs left. They're leaving the country, the floodgate is open, and we've got nothing. We've got nothing to look forward to if this kind of thing continues. What are they getting out of us? They are getting us sticking our hand out and saying, please give me something. Oh, Mr. Government, please give me something. Give me the food stamps. Give me the welfare. I'll go on disability. I'll scan the system. I'll do whatever it takes to put food on the table. I need it. I'm desperate. That's what this is. The real economy is not gaining by 4%. Everybody who's paying half attention knows the reality. This is a depression that's going on right now. And when we look back on this 20 years from now, we're going to realize at this moment right now, this is the beginning of the depression. This is a collapse happening already. We're already in the collapse. Don't wait for a collapse to be prepared. We're already in that collapse today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Guys, subscribe to these videos. Head down below. I got free stuff for you to click through, take a look, and also look forward to a new book, a new ebook coming out I'm doing. It should be released shortly about vaccines. It's very powerful, and I hope you guys will enjoy that one as much as you're enjoying the fluoride ebook and the genetically modified foods ebook as well. Take care.